In today's video, we are going to go through a step-by-step progression and how to start relearning how to go downstairs leading with your stronger leg. So if you've watched some of the previous videos here on this channel, or you've worked with a physical therapist in the past about how to properly go up and down stairs, they usually teach you to go up with the good and down with the bad. So meaning you lead with your weaker leg when you come down. But there's a lot of you who really want to be able to go step over step. And in order to do that, you need to be able to step down with each leg. And in most cases, and this comes up a lot in the comments, a lot of you are extremely nervous when attempting to step down with your strong leg, meaning all of your weight is on your weak leg. And there's a few reasons for that. We're going to go through those reasons, how to address each kind of problem area so that when you're ready, you can put it all together and be able to go downstairs confidently leading with your strong leg. If you're new to this channel, I'm Tara. I'm a neurologic physical therapist. And on this channel, we talk about anything and everything related to mobility, health, fitness, and mindset in the context of neurologic injury with the end goal of empowering you with as many tools as possible to take ownership of your rehab and your health, allowing you to ultimately live a more mobile, more active, pain-free, happier, healthier life. And with all that said, we're going to dive right into why you can't go down steps leading with your strong leg. And then of course, we're going to go through some exercises to address each one of the problem areas that might be contributing to your inability to feel comfortable going downstairs leading with your strong leg. First and foremost, you have to have enough ankle range of motion. So your ankle needs to be able to bend or dorsiflex a minimum of at least 10 to 15 degrees. Probably even more. Anything less than that, you're gonna feel a little jerky. So the reason for that is if your ankle doesn't bend enough, like dorsiflex, what's gonna happen is you're gonna feel like you're kind of tipping over the top of your foot as opposed to, or over your toes, as opposed to kind of letting your body weight gradually come down by bending your ankle. So that's number one, you have to have adequate ankle dorsiflexion range of motion. Number two reason why I see some people aren't able to do this is that you don't feel comfortable having your involved leg behind you. So it's a really kind of odd feeling if you have hemiparesis, which is weakness on one side of your body. If you're just now learning how to like regain strength in that leg, it can feel a little awkward having that leg behind you. One, some of you have sensation issues, so you can't really feel where that leg is. But two, you might not just be strong enough in that leg with your hip in an extended position. So with that leg behind you, you just might not have adequate strength to support your body weight. So we're going to go through that as well. How do you progress and develop that strength on this leg with it in this backwards position or slightly behind you? So that's number two. And then number three is that you might not have the ability to have like what we call eccentric control. So the muscles in the leg have to be able to contract and lengthen at the same time. So a concentric contraction is the muscle contracts and shortens, kind of like you can see the muscle is shortening in a bicep curl. Eccentric would mean if I put a weight in my hand and I'm slowly letting it out, I still have to be able to contract that muscle because I'm holding a weight in my hand, but as I let it down, it also has to be lengthening at the same time. We call that eccentric control. So some of you don't have that eccentric control, and we're going to go through all of these exercises or all of these problem areas in the exercises that we're going to do today. So let's go ahead and dive right into the exercises. So for this exercise, we're just stretching the calf. I have my foot on a wedge. I really love these foam wedges. I'll put a link for these in the description below. But basically, we're just trying to get that dorsiflexion, that at least 20 degrees of dorsiflexion that is not 1000% necessary, but without it, it's gonna feel a little awkward when you're going down the steps. So you're just gonna push your hips forward, and you really should feel like a good stretch on the back of your calf muscle. Now, if you wanted to kind of get a 2-for-1, specifically for going downstairs, A lot of times what I have people do is not only stretch that ankle, but also set the opposite foot up on a step in front of you. So now what you're doing is you're actually getting that leg behind you a little bit. So you actually have to start developing those muscles that I mentioned that have to be really strong with the leg in this position. And because this is primarily a stretch, you want to hold it for 1 minute. Now, next I had mentioned that you really have to get comfortable, or it's good to get comfortable having this leg behind you and supporting your body weight on this leg. So for this one, you're going to kind of get into a lunge position. This is the weaker leg, or the working leg, whatever leg you're trying to keep on the step when you're stepping the opposite leg down. Now, real quick, some of you guys get a little bit frustrated with me in the comments that I don't say strong leg and weak leg all the time. I really discourage using those words. There is just something that goes on in our brain when you keep referring to a leg as a weak leg, that in neuro rehab, so maybe in like the orthopedic world where you're not trying to rewire the brain, this might not be as important, but it's really not helpful to refer to your leg as your weaker leg. So I know a lot of you get frustrated, but if you watch enough of my videos, you will get used to my terminology where I say involved leg, or if we're doing an exercise, I refer to this as the working leg. The working leg is obviously the leg that you want to work. So not everyone that watches this channel has hemiparesis. So that's why sometimes I use the term working leg, because that's the leg that we're focused on. That's the leg that you want to feel the exercise in. That's the working leg. That is the leg that is benefiting from the exercise. So hopefully that clears up any confusion. But in this case, the working leg is the leg that's in the back. And then you're just going to kind of go up on your toe in the front, trying to put more weight onto this back leg. So the leg is behind you. And then when you go up on this toe, it's requiring you to put a little bit more demand on this leg. So it has to be able to support your body weight. In most cases, the reason why some of you can't do this is because you have like an abnormal synergy pattern. And so when your leg is extended, your foot wants to point. So if you flex your ankle, it just doesn't feel right because you're so used to your ankle pointing every time you straighten your knee out. So if it feels awkward, don't worry about it. It's not gonna feel normal for a lot of you, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get doing it. And all we're trying to do is increase your comfort or increase your confidence with the leg in this position. So again, and then just go up on your toe, really putting more weight onto this back leg. And then once you get good at that, you're going to again try and keep your weight on this back leg and try and step this foot up onto something. Now you see how my weight is in front of my foot? You really want to be in this position. So the compensation that probably most of you are going to make if you're not comfortable in this position is when you go to step up, you're going to drop your hip back. Right? That gets that foot kind of directly under your body. And what I was saying earlier was that this is the position where most people don't feel comfortable, is having the foot behind you. So you want to kind of keep that lunge position as you step that foot up and back down and back up, down, back up, and down. So for this exercise, what we're working on is actually feeling that force of pulling this knee forward. That's the exact force that you're going to feel when you're stepping down a step. Gravity, when your body gets forward to try and step off of that step, you're going to feel this force coming, that's going to try and force your knee to bend. So we're just kind of simulating that in a safer environment where you're on a level surface. So the band is pulling that knee forward. You want a pretty decent amount of resistance on it. And again, you're just trying to not fall, trying to slow yourself down, teaching your body how to kind of manage that force of your knee trying to bend before we get to step downs, which we're going to do. But this is a great exercise that most of you can do regardless of what stage you're at, because you can just adjust the amount of resistance or tension that's on the band. And then you're just going to step forward. And then I would try and hold that, especially so you can get used to that sensation that this knee wants to bend. So we're just simulating gravity, but you're staying on a level surface. So hold that, even kind of let that knee bend a little bit and then try and straighten it out. Again, we're getting comfortable having that foot behind you, but you're also getting comfortable just learning how to manage that eccentric control. And then back. Now, if you're in a solid AFO, I should have mentioned this earlier, it's going to feel awkward. It doesn't mean you can't do it, but I highly recommend that you try and get into an articulated AFO before you start doing this. If you're in what we call like a floor reaction AFO or a carbon brace that has like a shin shield, it looks like almost like a shin guard on like soccer shin guards. If you have a brace like that, there is the potential you're going to break that brace. I've seen it happen when people are going downstairs. That shield on the front is meant to keep your knee back. So when you go downstairs, you can sometimes tip over it a little bit, but again, that shield is meant to keep your shin back. And I have seen a couple of cases where people broke their brace trying to go downstairs. So you really need an AFO where the ankle bends on it. Now for this next exercise, again, we're still working on learning how to shift that body weight forward and kind of getting in that position where that knee kind of wants to buckle and it really forces this back leg to really work on that eccentric control. So you're just tipping the board forward, letting this back knee bend. You can see this is the position that you're going to be in when you go down the steps. This leg's going to be straight, the leg behind it's going to be bent. So before you go to step downs, this is an exercise that I typically always do with someone before we actually go to any type of a step down, even a step down off of a low surface, off of like a 2-inch or a 4-inch surface, is can someone shift their body weight forward and can this knee bend? And can this leg stay straight? I talk a lot on this channel about being able to dissociate your left side from your right side, and that can sometimes be a problem after a stroke. So what happens is that when someone has to keep this leg straight, this leg wants to stay straight, or when someone needs to bend this leg, they get the sensation that, or they actually get this leg bends because both legs are trying to do the same thing at the same time. So this is really teaching you how to dissociate, which is super, super important because if you feel like this leg is gonna bend because this leg bends, you're not gonna feel confident stepping down that step. So I would get really good at being on a wobble board like this and just shifting your weight forwards and backwards. I will put a link for this in the description below. And then I'm just gonna show it from the side a little bit so you can kind of see how you're shifting your weight forward. This back leg's bending and then shifting back, right? So this is pretty similar to stepping down a step. Right there, trying to keep this front leg straight and allowing that back leg to bend. And then next we're gonna go to an actual step down. This is a 4-inch step. I would start with either a 2-inch or a 4-inch step. If you did the wobble board or you know you have a wobble board and you did that and you did it okay, definitely I wouldn't go higher than a 4-inch step to start. Start as low as possible. Remember, you're just getting used to eccentric control as well as having that foot behind you and feeling comfortable without being able to see that foot. So again, eccentric control, you're just stepping down the step. And again, eccentric control, stepping down the step. And again, eccentric control, stepping down the step. And I mentioned this in the walking backwards video that I made a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago. I would hold this position. In some cases, what I've seen is that people are really quick to get this leg down, and that's really where the problem occurs on the stairs, is they just don't feel comfortable in this position. So they're trying to pick this leg up before this leg is even supporting their body weight because they just don't like that leg being behind them. So pay attention to that. Are you really trying to get this foot down so that it's in front of you? And if so, I would really spend a lot of time just practicing a step down, keeping this leg up on the step. There's a variety of reasons why that happens. It could be spasticity or an extensor synergy pattern for some of you, but it doesn't really matter why it's happening. You just want to kind of overcome that and feel comfortable with that foot behind you. And then once you get good at that, We're going to add the band back in. Again, we're trying to kind of like almost over simulate what's going to happen when you go down the stairs. So now you're going to step down and that band is actually pulling that knee forward. So this is actually almost, I would say, equal to, if not harder than actually going down a step, but you want to feel that force. That's what scares a lot of people, is that this leg is weak and then gravity is putting a lot of stress on this leg as you step forward. So add the band. I will put a link for these resistance bands in the description below, and then you're just going to step down and then back up and then down and back up and down and back up. And I would work on stepping back up. That will really help your forward walking. That's kind of why I made that walking backwards video a few weeks ago. Walking backwards is actually a great way to improve your forward walking, just kind of reaching that foot back. So definitely, if you can, try and step back up. And then once you get good at that, now remember that was a 4-inch step. This I think is an 8-inch step, or even, no, this is probably about a 10-inch step. We're gonna go a little bit higher than a normal height step. So build up to this, but I don't feel like I need to show you how to do this on a 6-inch and then an 8-inch, but definitely you want to progressively increase the height. In the description below, I will put a link for a height adjustable step, so you don't need like a bunch of different steps. And then you want to just step down. Now, this might be a little bit hard for a lot of you to step back up, so if you can't just walk around and get back up on it again. But again, you want to be like you want to work a little bit more difficulty here in a safe environment where you're not looking down an entire flight of stairs. So that is why I like to go to a little bit of a higher step first. And then you're just going to step down and again, just hold that. And then for a lot of you, it's going to be hard to step back up. So just walk around the step, step back up onto the step, and then step down. If you've mastered the 4-inch step with that force pulling you forward from that resistance band, then it's going to make this exercise easier. So don't skip over the exercises where you have the resistance band pulling you forward. You really want to get used to that force of your body moving forward, because that's kind of simulating that gravity a little bit. And then that is it for this video. I hope you guys found this video helpful. In the comments, tell me what your problem areas are when you're going up and down stairs. This video was inspired by a few comments recently where people said this exact thing, is that they don't feel comfortable stepping down with their stronger leg. So leave that in the description below, and hopefully I can include your specific problems in a future video. If you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so that you will get notified every time I upload new videos. If you want exercises throughout the week, head on over to Instagram and follow us over there, where I post 1 to 2 videos every single week, just to kind of help keep your home exercise program interesting, change things up a little bit. So follow us over there if you want to get completely different exercises during the week than I'm posting over here on YouTube. So it is completely different content over there. If you want a little bit more community and you want to get your specific questions answered, definitely join us in our monthly live Q&As. For $5 a month as a member, you will have access to our monthly lives where you can submit questions in advance and I answer those live once a month. If you can't come to the event, you can watch the recordings as well as all the past recordings. So by becoming a member, you have access to all of the recordings, including all the previous recordings that we've done over the last year. So it's only $5, and I would really love to see you guys over there. If you want access to the entire vault of exercises that I use with my patients that I see in person, we have our gold monthly membership. Information for that and link for that is in the description below. With the gold membership, you do get access to, again, the entire vault of exercises where you can filter through by category and quickly get to the exercises that are going to address your specific movement problem. And as usual, I enjoyed spending time with you all today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. You have a good day.